Hey guys, welcome to another Model Mania. Wow, I think I forgot to change the title on this one. It says Model Mania 23, stages 36 to 40, which is actually Model Mania 36, I think it is. Stages 46 to 50. I'll have to change that on the on post production. Hey Eric, how's it going? So it's been a while since we did the anything on the Terminator, and I had a couple of comments on Discord saying that the guests will watch because even though it's not the Enterprise, and I agree with you guys. Although I should be getting charged for the next pack of the Enterprise tomorrow, and which means next Tuesday it should be the Enterprise again. I tried it. I tried, Kenny. I posted it on my Facebook, your Facebook, the HLI homepage, and Discord. I can't think of anywhere else to paste it. So, and I agree. YouTube's always bad about giving notifications. But yeah, so the last time that I did anything on the Terminator, we actually ended up with him getting pretty close to having a pelvis. And I looked through the pages for tonight, and we will be getting him a pelvis, and I may actually work further than 5 stages. I don't know. I'm thinking about changing it up because the Terminator and the X-Wing, I'm about to have all the parts for them. That way I can get the, I may do a binge on them, get them all complete, so I've got only the Pearl, the Ecto 1, and now the Enterprise D to work on. And if anybody hasn't seen it, the Batman or the Batmobile 66 Batmobile has been postponed until sometime in 2022. With the fact that it was supposed to come out about 6 weeks ago. Hey Donnie. With the fact that it was supposed to come out about 6 weeks ago, that's not a surprise that it's been postponed. And it's going to be funny that when it turns out that they postponed it because they couldn't get the poster. Because that's what they were saying is why they weren't going to, or they weren't shipping yet. In other happenings in my life, we just found out that my son did get a job was going to be Juneau, Alaska, but now it's going to be apparently Ketchikan or somewhere up on the panhandle of Alaska. My wife couldn't remember, but I think it's going to be Ketchikan, where he's going to be training to be an air traffic controller. So we will be making trips to Alaska once he goes up there. What else? Oh yeah, need to plug my own group build. 6 days from now, the first group build that I'm kind of sponsoring, I guess you would say, or just that I'm the one who said, hey, let's do a group build on this. 6 days from now is the 40th anniversary of the space shuttle, and so I'm jockeying a camera right now, guys. You can't see. Let me switch scenes. That will be what I'm building. Is the reveal launch tower and space shuttle with booster rockets. You can see the Titanic part sitting on top of it. In the next few weeks, or in a week or two, I will be doing an out-of-box review of that. It's a huge kit, and it was one of my grail kits because when I first saw it back in the 80s, I was like, that is so cool. But I wasn't doing a whole lot in models back then. I was like, maybe someday, and then it went away and was gone for literally 30 years. Hey Spencer, how's it going? Well, it came back. It was 83 when it was released last time. It came back in 2013, and I snatched it up, and it's now time to start building it. I've gotten into real space builds quite a bit. So that's what's going to be the next thing that is added to the rotation. nothing else really going on here, so let me switch cameras and we'll start with that view. And this is where we left the Terminator last time. This was the these were the parts that we worked on last for stage 45. 46 goes on working on the left or right pelvis. I think this was actually the left pelvis that we did last time. Let me double check. Yeah, left pelvic frame. And so stage 46, first thing is the right pelvic frame. And by the end of tonight, we should have parts actually attached to the Terminator. Since I picked him up earlier today, that shoulder keeps moving. I keep thinking about getting back in there, tightening it up, but he's going to be vertical like this, not like this. So the fact that that shoulder pops a little bit isn't going to matter. And I'm sure that the left shoulder will do the same thing once it is in place. So let me put him under the bench. Got these parts. Let me get, where is the part? 46. Got my screwdriver, got my screws. Looking, if it's not dried out, there are some parts that are going to need to be glued tonight, so I got my glue. And I'm not going to be using the glue looper. I use that specifically for joints, but instead, the idea I got from World of Wayne, just a pin and a pin vise. Get that out of the way, and let's start building something. So in the pack, we've got pelvic girdle, detail for it, a couple of screws, and just like always, I'm going to put the screws away first. So let me cut them out of the bag first so I can figure out what each of these are. And unfortunately, I was doing some other things today and I moved my trash can, so I don't have a trash can at my knees like I normally do. It's actually a box for a dehumidifier. So I'll just set those over there. And instead of beer today, I have decided that, well, I don't have, it's a good thing I'm not working on the Black Pearl because the rum's all gone, but instead I have whiskey. A little bit of bourbon and building. Okay, so 6 PB 2x4. So actually, you know what? That's right. I forgot. I was no longer worried about putting screws into the right things anymore because they always provide spares. So there's one spare. 5 of this PB 2x4s. One spare of the PM 2x4s, and one spare of the PB 2x6. Okay, turn the page. Position left pelvic girdle. That. And I identify these 2 points where things are going, they call them fixing points, but that's just where things are going to attach. And the first thing we do, okay, yeah, this one has the framing already on there. So, look at it the right way. So you've got a couple of screw holes, one here and one here. matching up with these lugs and the screw holes in the lugs, like so. And there's a recessed part on the bottom side of the part so that it will fit in like that. And by the way, guys, it is flipping hot in here today. It got up to 80 degrees, and it's currently since I'm in a patio room, it's currently 80 degrees in here and 75 outside. I've got the door sliding glass, or not sliding glass, I guess you'd call it a half a French door, because it's French doors but only one of them move. Got that open, which isn't helping because the patio door is actually closed, so that if the dogs and the wife come down and start making noise, it doesn't make a huge amount of noise in here. Let's see, so these should be PB 2x6, double check. Yeah, these two go in these holes here, the ones I was just showing. And there's several other screw holes around it. Central air is my friend, and the central air is in here, but I'm not going to turn the house down to 74 just to make the patio cooler. If it gets really bad this summer, I have a portable air conditioner that I vent out through the window. It's just, it's the 6th of April and it's getting up to 80 degrees. Mother Nature is drunk again this year. That's those two, and then 4 circle points. 4 of the 5 of these go into here, 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 and here. Got it. And then the 5th one will go, double check. No, that goes the other way around. No, it doesn't. Yeah, the 5th one will go through this screw hole here. So the 5 screws go in each of these holes, but the 5th one has to have a part on top of it before it goes in there. Yeah, I agree with you, Kenny. Bring on the heat, but you guys don't want it to get too hot in this room, because then I'll be doing live streams without a shirt, and people would be throwing up nationwide. It'd just be bad stuff, man. I'll be losing subscribers. So one of the things nice about working at home is if the heat gets too bad, I will be shirtless. And even worse for you guys out there in internet land is behind me is where the hot tub is. Can you imagine me just moving the camera a little bit and then you guys have to watch me out in the hot tub? I think I'd be banned from YouTube for that. So the first 5 or first 4 screws are in, putting in the 5th one. Like I said, it goes into that hole there, through that tab with the screw hole to attach this to the rest of the part. And that's how it looks at this point. Yeah, it's because my second monitor, where I watch what's going on the stream, where I watch my video, is a Roku, so it is really bad for the video. Not the video on the that you guys are seeing is much better. That's almost pixelated on the Roku. Okay, so that goes there. Oh, you know what? If I could read, I'd be dangerous. So I put the wrong screw in here, but they're the same diameter. This silver one here, silver screw, doesn't belong in that hole. This shorter black screw belongs in that hole. Someday I will actually start reading the instructions, and then I'll get things right the first time and people will be amazed. But on the other hand, do modelers ever really read the instructions, or do we go, okay, that looks good, and let's go for it? So this last silver screw goes in this hole here, which is bracing this part a little bit better. And that's got that pretty well in there. It's firm. And then, of course, you guys don't recognize this piece from back in January, probably not. But this is the last piece that goes on here. It was the last piece from pack 45. Get my sprue cutters. Throw that piece of sprue in the box. It'll eventually end up somewhere. Check the fit of the part. Where does it go? Okay, it goes right here. That's right. They're going to tell me to use a very sparing amount of glue to attach it. So, this is the part right here. There's a little tab here. It kind of sits down in this hole. Silver parts are great, aren't they? So it'll sit down in that hole there, and then the rest of it will be glued against this here. The whole thing, it doesn't go on without glue. Apply a very small amount of super glue to the assembly, highlighted in blue. Where it's highlighted in blue is all along this edge and along the bottom here. Put that over there so I can get my glue. I have to say, this is not the best super glue in the world. It's Chinese knockoff glue, but it's cheap. So let me make sure I got this the right way, make sure I'm putting the glue in the right spots. So a tiny amount of glue down through here, along here, and across the bottom here. Now if it was down along here, along this edge, and across this bottom part here. Throw a little bit more on there. And I know why they're saying to use a sparing amount is because you don't want to get the glue on the silvered parts and have it, basically have it be visible that you put glue on there. You know, smudged glue is always ugly. So it goes on there. Uh-oh. Let me see what's going on. Okay. Am I moving again? Okay. My droid cam froze up for a minute there. Hang on a second. Let me background here. No, that's not what I want to do. But this will work. There. Now that should keep it from freezing up. I just had to kill the second camera. Much better. I've had that happen before too. It's one of the weird things about the droid cam. So it's glued along this edge. Let me see if it's actually sticking at this point. It is, but it's a little loose down on the end here. So let me just put a little bit of glue by between the tabs. Of course, I forgot to point out the tabs. So if you look on the back side here, there's a tab there and a tab there, and that's where it was a little bit loose from. And I agree, cheap is the best, because I think I paid $15 for like 100 of these things, and I've been using them for like, I don't know, call it 5 years now. And all it is it's a little bit thinner, a little bit lower quality, but it still does the job. So let me make sure it's in place. Ensure all the edges are glued, which they are. They shouldn't fall off, hopefully. That's it for stage 46. And there it is, 47. So just out of curiosity, guys, I don't know if you even know what partworks are out there, but I'm thinking about since the Batmobile is on hold for who knows how long, I might, when I get caught up and beyond caught up to where I'm only getting 2 packets a month between the Enterprise and the Ecto 1. Does anybody have any thoughts on if I should start another part work, or should I just press on with the 10 or 15 builds I've got going? Only reason I ask is I think part works are really good for the live streams. Okay, so step back. So this is the pelvic frame rear section. This is pelvic frame, lower panel pelvis, and then there's screws to go with it. I may have to put a I am finishing the build. Matter of fact, the Voyager is back on top of the desk instead of below. Still going to work on obviously going to work on the... There is no more Enterprise right now, Donnie. Obviously going to continue working on the Pearl and the Titanic. I'm still kicking around whether I want to piss my wife off and get the Bismarck. So 5 of these, 3 of these, 2 spares. I love the Ecto 2. I'm just trying to get parts for it. Matter of fact, anybody who is doing these part works, or if you decide to do the part works in the future, so 1/200 scale Bismarck, it's huge. But if you decide to do these part works in the future and they start slowing down on getting you parts, the best way to get them to continue sending you parts on a regular basis is to up your deliveries to one a week. I've done that both with the Enterprise and with the Ecto 1, so we'll see what happens. Potentially it's $200 a month on each of them, but they're not going to go that fast. And I'm not that far behind on either of them because I got them, I subscribed to them both right at the beginning. So, this cover piece here, which is nice, silver, plastic, metal. There are 4 lugs and then 2, looks like guide posts here, for something that's coming later. These lugs go into these holes, and then the screws come down through the top to hold it to the part. I'll have to convince my wife on the Bismarck rascal. I really think I want to get it, but I'm like, So, like I said, got 4 screw holes here, and those screws are these 4. Not going to do much screwing with a knife. These ones right here. And if anybody has not seen the Bismarck, I share Eric's enthusiasm. Go over to World of Wayne. He's doing the entire build, and I'm very jealous because he gets sponsored on his videos. Of course, I don't have. I think he's got 32,000 viewers. So a lot of this stuff that he's doing, I don't know how much of it, to be honest, but some of it he's getting sponsored by the companies, and so they're giving them to him for free. I want to say at least the Terminator. Oh, I think he's getting that one for free. So 4 screws in there. That's how that one looks. And then there's couple posts here that go into these sockets here. You know, just realized I've got you guys zoomed out pretty far. Let me zoom in so it's a little bit easier for you guys to see this stuff. So, back to what I was saying. Post here, 2 sockets, and these are screw holes here. So this will go on here like so. And then the 2 screws left over will hold it on. Although, I have to say, that is awfully wobbly. I have to see what it looks like once I put the screws in. Another build that is going to start popping up on my channel is I'm going to get my Lisbon tram out and diorama. It's just a lot of things that I've had sitting under the bench for a long time. I'm getting the urge to build. Lisbon diorama went under the bench because I didn't like the way the paint was coming out on it, on the front of the car. Because what I tried to do is do the, for want of a better word, decal, but it's not a decal. Actually, it's a piece of paper that you glue to the front of the tram. And I've matched the color pretty well, but I just wasn't happy with the way it was looking. Let me see if I can get that in a little bit tighter. It should go pretty well because the hole goes all the way through. It's just not making it. I keep thinking one of the dogs is at the door, but it's actually the wind from the open door going to the, against the doors to the house. That's not making it. It's just almost on one side. I'm going to take that one back out. if I can. This is one of those times that I think I might almost need to start listening to what Wayne says and use a little bit of oil, but I don't have any. 2 ppm 2x6, just because. Oh, no. PM6, but that's black instead. Try this again, see if I can actually get it to go all the way in. I'm a firm believer that I should not, with these things, have to be adding extra oil to get the screws to go all the way down. Especially when it's going into a metal piece. Believe the, my particular bent on life is that if you're putting a screw into a metal part, the metal should have been, the thread should have been cut deep enough in the metal to where you don't have to fight it. Threads aren't damaged just because, let me see if I can find the other one so that I've got one that hasn't got a head chewed up on it at all. That side's firm. This side's not quite there yet. I believe that I don't even have to put them in the right thing to be able to recognize the screws. Is it bad? Have I been doing this too much? Okay, it wasn't coming out at first, and I was like, no, that's bad. It's still not playing really nice. Okay, let me see if I can get this one in, and hopefully it'll do just the same thing the other fresh screw did and just sink right in there. Of course, it helps to keep the screwdriver. I'm sorry, I just realized, guys, I've been off screen, haven't I? I've been back here, and you guys are looking at you guys are listening to me talk, looking at the blue. Okay, that's much better. So before, guys, when it was flexing, you can see how it's not a really good flat surface on either side, but the screw is flat down, so it's not flexing, and that's what I was concerned with. So 40, that's 49. Part 48. Assembling the pelvis. So we've got the pelvic frame. Oh no, this is the pelvic shield, and it is plastic. The pelvic frame is metal, and there are 13 screws. So when I, just to let you guys know, because I happened to look over it again and saw Donnie's More Enterprise. When I do the mods on the Enterprise, I'm not going to do it on a live stream, but I am going to do a video, you know, start to finish, just so that you guys can see what it took to modify it. I have some ideas on it. Spare. So hopefully my ideas will work out right. So I've got six of the large, 2 mediums, and 2 small. After I put the spares away. So it says take the pelvic frame. I think it is. No, assembly from stage 45. Which that would be. Which one is the one from stage 45? Dang. No, not this one. And what I'm doing, guys, is I'm comparing it to what's in the book. So this is the one from 45. Also known as, I believe, the right pelvic frame. If they'd have said, take the right pelvic frame from stage 45, it would have been easy, because there's an R right there. Makes it easy to identify it. So identify this hole and this hole here, and of course I'm off camera. I need to zoom back out because I keep backing towards myself. Okay, that should be good. So it says to identify this hole and this hole here. Take this part from stage 47, and it slots into those 2 spots. One. It's not slotting in the other side. There we go. Oh, good. This is just like so. There we go. Let me take it back off if I can, so I can show you guys what I did. So there's 2 tabs here. Oh, come on, droid camera. All right. So there's 2 tabs here that go into these slots. So what I did. And it didn't want to go at first. It took a little bit of pushing, but it goes easier with the big tab first. Hang on, let me get this back to where I can. What is it? Oh, yeah, that. So part of what's blocking is there's a screw hole here that has to go above this tab right here. So if I start with that, okay, so that's in place. And then I can push those tabs in, and it's now flush mounted there. And I can see, haven't looked at the instructions, but there's a screw hole here, there's a screw hole here, and one here that are going to hold it in place. So slot it in. It says exactly what I just said. But this part here with the round part. Flip this over, back around. This round half moon part here has to go towards the back. I see, and there's a slot here and here. Seems like this is really interesting. It seems to me like I would want to put the screws in here and here before I put this part in. But according to the instructions, and I'm going to follow what they say until they steer me wrong, instead I need to put these 4 tabs into these. Let me set this down. Stay. I need to put those 4 tabs into these 4 slots so that the whole thing is actually together before I apply a single screw. It sounds like this, to me, seems like it's going to be interesting and a big pain in my ass. There goes my PG rating, by the way. That one actually fits on there pretty easily. Tight fit, tabs created, fair stable assembly, but sure the parts are pushed as close together as possible. Screw holes near the corners of 48-1 should align with the screw holes on. So it's saying make sure it's pushed together, and these screw holes on here should align with the frames that I just put them into, which they do if I push it. PM 3x8s, and I think those are the big 48-3 PM. Okay, so it says now put the 4 screws into these 4 holes and into the frames to hold the frame together. Guessing, no, that's such a big screw with such a little bitty head on it. So I'm going to do, actually I'm going to do one of the ones on the left hand side first because it sinks in and stays a little bit easier. There's one. Something, just for some reason I always go cross. I don't even know where I learned it. I think I learned that working on, putting on a tire on a car or something. Go across up here. One of the things I've never bought, and I always think about it for these things, is an electric screwdriver. A micro electric screwdriver, because you want to be able to, tone it down really hard so that it's not spinning out of control. Normal electric screwdriver would not work with these things. Let's see, there's a gap there, but I think it'll work. Yeah, there was a slight gap right here, but as soon as I put the screw in, it pulled it in. Okay, so that's those 4 screws. So I'm just trying to figure out, looking at the pictures, where it's telling me to put next screws. So I believe fix in place the PM 2x4 screw, which are these. I believe where it's telling me to put them, the screws is right here and right here. So let me give it a shot. You just make sure. It would suck if I grab 6mm screws and I'm trying to put them into a 4mm deep hole. Man, am I smart. These are 6mm long screws. The short ones are the 4mm. Let's see if you can see that. That's where the screw is going into. Do the same thing on the other side. Once it's threaded, I can do the same thing. I can bring it up to where you guys can see it. No, maybe not. It's on the wrong side. I'm right-handed, and so I need to go at it from a certain direction. I got it most of the way in there, and I slipped off of it. So now you can see through the scan lines down at the bottom there. Those two screws are in there. Turn it over and find I believe it's telling me these two screw holes. No, it's not. It's these two down here. So the ones I was looking at thinking that it was the screw holes were this one and this one. It's these two that are further in, and it asks for these two screws to go in there, which is why they had me put the other parts together first, because these actually come in from the bottom. Get one threaded and then the other. Sorry, I keep getting off. Let me solve that a little bit. There. Now when I'm on the edge of the table, I'm still in camera. So, those are the two screws I put in just now. So it wants me to put a little bit of super glue on here, but first I need to figure out I've got the 6mm screws, but it hasn't told me to put them anywhere yet. And that concerns me because it always tells me when to put stuff in there. It's 3 p.m. It's very interesting because it says that I should have these two screws, but it never tells me where to put them. So those screw holes that I was concerned about that were in a weird spot, they have screws in them. Let's see. So I see a couple screw holes here. So that's interesting. Sorry, I'm not talking, guys. I'm just staring at this, trying to figure out what they're doing. I know where the screws go, but I'm wondering if it's just missed in the instructions. And I'm looking into further instructions to see if there's a spot where it says to put those screws in. It does not tell you any time to what are the payment options. I thought it was, you know, like half your life savings every month. So this screw right here, one right there, the instructions do not say to put it in there, or its counterpart on the other side. However, the pictures show these screws in those holes. So I'm going to put them in those holes until it turns out that I'm wrong. And by the way, Eric, Bismarck is, I'm not sure what the payment options are. I know that when I was looking at it, the payments were $100 a month, or actually somewhere closer to what the Terminator is, which is a shitload of money every month. Pardon my French. Okay, so that's got that done. It says, next thing it says, getting back on track with the instructions. Turn it around this way. This piece here, just to make sure I've got it the right way, goes on like that. Apply a little super glue to the sides of the 2-peg circle. So the only thing this is supposed to, I didn't realize they had it. Sorry, I read Eric's comment. I didn't realize they had it for $69 a month. I thought their only one was the 12-month option. They must have realized that their models are a little bit expensive. But it says to put it on the sides of these pins. Instead, I'm putting it in the hole. The hole is, you know, it's just a socket, it doesn't go all the way through. And by putting the glue in here and here, it's a lot easier than here, than these two pins, at least to me. And it does the same thing. So let me put this back down on here. And there it's seated, and that glue will eventually dry and lock it in place. So stage 49. By the way, guys, I don't know if you noticed, but this glue, which has been sitting here for like a half an hour, is still liquid. That's the bonus of the cheap stuff, is it doesn't dry out quick either. Although, what it will do, once this actually dries out, what'll happen is anytime I put any glue on top of that, it'll glue almost instantly. Or not glue, but dry almost instantly. It's weird, and it doesn't matter what kind of super glue it is. I've noticed that if you put super glue, a puddle of super glue on top of a puddle of super glue, that super glue dries, that you just put it on top of, dries really quick. So 3 more screws. These are these are odd because they're PB 2x5 millimeter. So they're not 3 millimeter, they're not 4 millimeter. The pelvic shield for this side, the pelvic plate, and 2 pelvic sockets. I'm guessing these will actually go on top of here. Since these are identical, let me go ahead and cut them off the sprues. I have to say these are really good sprue cutters. Bought them on eBay. 5 of them for like $10. And so I end up with sprue or cutters everywhere. I think I got one upstairs on my desk. Okay, so the first thing it says to do is do the same thing here. Put the glue on the pins. I'm a rebel. I'm going to put it in the sockets. It's awesome. I just happened to look at my thermometer right here, my indoor-outdoor. It's dropped 3 degrees outside, and it's gone up 1 degree inside. So instead of, it was 75 when I started, now it's 72 outside, and it was 80 when I started, now it's 81 inside. So that sits on there like that. Oops, did it out of order. Now it says to cut these loose. Sorry. Just joking, guys. I don't care. Okay. These actually go... I was thinking they'd go on there like that with the opening on the bottom, but they actually go the opposite. So I just need to make sure, because they're probably going to be something that rubs up against these, so I'm going to take a little bitty nub that was still there on both sides. Probably wouldn't harm anything, but I'd rather do it now than have to take something apart. And I'm not going to sand chrome parts. And oh, by the way, anybody who's looked at Agora, if you've looked and seen the plasma rifle for the Terminator, I emailed them and I got the password, because you can't get it unless you're actually building the Terminator, and they email you a password, and then it turns out that the thing is like $100 for the plasma rifle. I've gone out on eBay and I found a Gatling gun, and it's got LEDs and all that. I'm gonna tone down the LEDs and paint the Gatling gun, because it's all kinds of cute colors. But I'm gonna give the Terminator will have a gun. It's just not gonna be the one from Agora Models. I found better. It's the one that I'm looking at is a minigun, The only reason I haven't bought it yet is shipping from the UK is atrocious. All right, I'm getting ahead of myself, not telling you guys about this. But I will be getting him a gun. Are you talking the, Kenny, are you talking about the Bismarck? And and the thing about the Bismarck through Agora is it's an easier build than a plastic model. And I kick around the idea of the 1/200 Bismarck from Agora. Is Trumpeter put out? That's right. Trumpeter did recently release a 1/200 scale Bismarck, didn't they? Because I've got a 1/350, and ever since I saw wooden decks on models, they didn't have one for the Ida Blue, but I'm getting wooden decks and whatever photo etch I can do for whatever ships I build from now on. If I ever find a Queen Mary 2 for a decent price, not over $200, I may sell my Queen Mary 2 that doesn't have the photo etch in the wooden decks, because it's going to cost me as much as it's going to cost me about $150 to get the photo etch and the wooden decks, and the photo etch isn't available other than through, or I haven't seen it other than through Revell on their platinum set. Okay, so back to this. So these two pieces, I forget what they're called. The pelvic sockets fit down into these holes. Not sure yet. It depends on how much it's going to run me to get the platinum version. But for you, Eric, knowing we'll talk. We've done business before. We'll talk. And the Queen Mary is a fantastic kit. It's huge. So these sockets fit down inside of here, and there's a keyway on either side, so you can't put them in wrong. And that's where the screws go. And I will tell you too, the shipping on the Queen Mary will be a little bit, because it's bigger than the Titanic I sold you. Let me put it that way. Okay, so those go on there, and then the screws that came in this pack, or in this stage, go in there to hold them in place. It's one thing about the Queen Mary, Eric. If I were to sell you the Queen Mary, you got to build it before you sink it. Exactly. I know you are, Eric. So those fit on there like that. And then this last piece, on the other side of the front pelvis, there is a recess that follows the curve of the pelvis. I think it's telling me to put this on like this, but it doesn't show that in the picture. Okay, yeah, it's telling me to apply a little bit of glue. Interesting, looks almost like a screw hole. on either side, but it's telling me to apply a little bit of glue and then slide this thing in here. And where I'm going to put the glue is on these ridges here, and maybe a little across the front. And my glue's drying out. And of course, like I said, it's going to dry faster now that I put it right on top of the stuff that's already drying. But just drop and swing it around there. And it's a large drop. And swing it around there at the same time. And then I'm going to run a bead across here. And don't know if you can see it there, but I got some glue on the outside, and I'm going to just very gently wipe that off. And even with the short amount of time that was there, it did do a little bit of scarring to the paint. But put that in there. This piece is done, other than just holding it to set in place, to let it set. And so we have another pelvic plate, a connecting plate, some self-locking nuts, and one really big nut. Throw that one in there because there's always a spare. Wait, it didn't say that that one was a spare. Come back. Whoa. And then five screws, one of which is a spare, so that means one of those nuts is going to be a spare. Let's see if I can flip this back around. So I'm going to flip the page. Okay, so on what it says, first thing it says to do is each of these hexagonal recesses is where the nuts are going to go, and it says to apply a little bit of glue in there. So I'm going to put a little drop of glue around the outside. And then very gently drop a nut into each one. Would not do to have it in there sideways, as I almost put one in sideways. And I know why. I haven't read the book, but I'm sure the reason that they're doing this is that as you go along, they update instructions as they realize things, like when you turn them part over, all the screws or all the nuts will fall out. And so instead of having the nuts fall out, they tell you to put a drop of glue in there so that the nuts will stay. So let me get this out of the way. This, close up the screw box, because the terminator is coming back. good Lord, he's heavy. He needs to go on a diet. So down here, oh, that's why too. That's especially important on these ones. So down here is your nut that will lock this piece in place. The biggest reason that they're having you super glue these nuts in is because when you flip it over to fit it in there, you're not going to be able to hold those nuts in place. And if you there's a right here, actually you can see it better here, there's that curved piece there, and there's a curved spot on here, so this has to go around this way. First I've got to get the keyed portion, there we go. There's a keyed portion here where the sides are cut off. If it's a single side, it's a D. I don't know what you'd call it on that, but I've got a flat side on both sides, and it's got to be lined up with this. Let's set this down. Does not seem like he's going in as far as he should. That's a pretty big opening in the front, but looks like that's where it's supposed to be. So let me see if I can get this nut on here. I would be happier if they gave me a second nut so that I could put this nut on there and then put another nut on top of it as a jam nut so it doesn't back off. Because I'm sure this is going to be somewhere where if it ever comes off, it's going to be a real pain in the behind to get to. And of course, stand on your head there, bud. It's not threading on there. Well, come on. Let's see if I turn that over. Odd as that sounds, turning the nut over actually helped a little bit. After checking the spinal cord is still fully tightened, fix the connector and close by tightening. If necessary, gently tighten with a suitable spanner or pair of pliers, taking care not to over tighten and break shit. Leathermen are for. Actually, let me lay him down. Gently use the Leatherman so I don't break his back. Not sure if it's a bright idea slapping a pair of pliers down on a glass table, but it's okay. Nothing happened yet. There's that magical word, yet. And I can see there's still a gap in here. pinched my arm or my finger. I think that's just about it. I'm gonna try another quarter turn. You'll always do the last quarter turn because that's what breaks things. Okay, make that a half turn. Nope, that's it. That was my calibrated torque finger. No, okay, I got torque wrenches. That's not pliers either, it's needle nose pliers. But this glue, Kenny, I know exactly where it is. It's where I make my mistakes is I'll put the glue here and then I'll set something right on top of it. I may have to go back and rewatch the video just to see how close I got though. So now I take the pelvis and it slides on here. That. Okay. Before I do that, let him stand it on his head again. So you can see there are 4 sockets on this side. The nuts are on the other side. That's where I put the glued the nuts in there. And then on the bottom, there's 4 lugs here that will fit up inside there. These hinge pieces, hinge points here, face forward, so that it goes on like that. And then there's 4 screw holes down inside there. It's okay, Kenny. Like I said, I've done that a lot, and I've actually sat stuff into the glue and been like, damn it. Let's see if I can thread it in there. Nope, not. This is going to be interesting. Let me roll him over so I can actually see in there. And probably this extension would be good. Wait. Get it right, Donnie. If you're going to call it a $1,000 kit, you call it a $1,600 kit. Like you said, what's a little glue? It's a Terminator. Maybe he's been in battle and somebody's glued pieces back onto him. Okay, that one's caught. Next one, let me slide him up so you guys can actually see a little bit what I'm doing. So what I'm doing is I'm actually going down inside here into the screw holes and doing my best to get these screws threaded into the now captive nuts. This one, same thing. I think they're either catching or I'm pushing those nuts out and I'm going to have to take everything apart. One more. I think they're all caught. And here, just to make sure, actually looking at that part. Ah! Okay, I stuck my thumb in the glue. But, oh yeah, that's right, I don't have a garbage can handy right now. So let me take this off of here and set it over here with the other parts that I don't need. A little bit of super glue on the joints never hurt anybody until they froze up. Okay. So now I don't have to worry about super glue. That one's tight. Why do I have a bad feeling about that one? I have a bad feeling, guys. I think I might have had a couple of the nuts go loose. Just to see. Okay. They don't appear to be loose. That's actually, let me check the thread on the bit on here. That might work. So, then again, it might not. No, it's too big. That one's good. That one's good. No. This brace right here is what's in the way. I'll take the bit. I have to retrieve the bit with a pair of needles or a pair of tweezers. That's silly. That one looks like it's down. Yes, indeed, I do. I can't tell. It's it's not tightening down as if it's fully seated, but at the same time I can't get anything I can't get it to stop turning. You don't nail wood, Kenny. You glue wood. You lay wood. Let's see. Come on. I'm going to call that good. I'm going to try this other side, make sure. What we need to do, Kenny, is get a, I need to save up some parts on things like the Terminator. And we do it a Discord 8-hour live stream. You laying wood and me screwing things up. I thought we were R-rated when we first started this. And I have a lot of screws to still put in. Okay, so that was step 7. What does this say? This, okay. That was why I didn't want to get rid of my glue, but I did. So what it says is to put glue again on these points and then drop it in here. Meaning, once, if those screws aren't tight, or if the nuts have come loose, I'm screwed, because I'll never be able to get this back off. So let me see. Okay. Not near so much glue this time. Because this is the last thing to do on this tonight. Grab the glue, put it in each of these holes. And I'm sure I don't have to actually glue it. I could probably just press fit it and it would stay. Over to where it goes the right way. Push it down. And the Terminator almost has an ass now. Very close. So there's going to be something. Let me straighten his arm out so you guys can see what I'm looking at. So these are going to have some sort of a piston that come down and hit the sockets from earlier. Right, one right here, right here. These are going to have something in the pistons. Let's see, that's in there. And got the other arm still to go. Not even started on it. There are aftermarket parts for these pistons, if I remember right, to make him a little bit firmer. But I'm not thinking I'm going to do much aftermarket on him. He's cool just the way he is. I have been reading, and I'm not watching a bunch of the videos that are well ahead of me, but I've been kind of catching hints off of some of the part work Facebook channels that, unlike where it looks like right now, the battery box goes in here and powers the head. Apparently sometime in the near future I'm going to be getting a wire harness that runs down somewhere. Seems to me that the wire harness should have run down inside the neck, but who knows. Let's see. Okay, that back up. Okay. So let me re-bend his arm. And that's where he is at this point. That's where he stands. That's now the end of stage 50, I think it was. Yeah, stage 50. So next time I work on the Terminator, I'll be starting on stage 51, book 6. What's wrong with the teeth? Oh no! Well, there's a little chip on one of his teeth. A couple of the teeth. Might do something, might do some weathering on them. Thanks guys, and appreciate you stopping by. I'm enjoying this build It's going a little bit slower than I had originally planned because I started building everything on live streams. So let me switch over. Prost to your health. Thanks, Kenny. The teeth are aftermarket. You're right. I'm thinking no more aftermarket because there's not a whole lot of aftermarket that you can do. They have aftermarket for the eyes, and actually, Donnie, you're right. Forgot about the fingers, also. The replaced sockets, which when I start on the left hand, those will all go on camera. Like I said, thanks for stopping by. And anybody who is not a member, please stop by HobbyLink International. Great bunch of guys. Some of us are doing things like the Terminator. Most of the people over there are doing plastic models. And then there's a lot of people who are doing scratch builds, 3D printing, you name it. If it's in the realm of models, it's happening over at HobbyLink International. I've got a couple of wooden models going as well. Like to give shout outs to Kenny, Rascals Hobby Eric, Donnie, Spencer Wolf, Schumann is not on right now, but also a bunch of great guys, the great modelers, and we all stream or post videos online. Like I said, thanks for stopping by. Have a great day, and I will catch you next time.